Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Transport Minister outlines actual and proposed road initiatives to aid in the reduction of road carnage. The NESC Automotive Technology Centre is officially opened in Woodford Lodge, Chaguanas. And $0.25 billion already expended by the Education Ministry in the government laptop distribution program. Thank you for joining us. The nation's roadways are now safer thanks to the efforts of the government in addressing road carnage. Now, while these initiatives have been successful thus far, a number of additional initiatives have been proposed.
A number of initiatives introduced by the government have been working well in reducing the road carnage on the nation's roads. On Tuesday, Minister of Transport, the Honourable Stephen Cadiz, spoke of these initiatives while answering a question posed to him by Opposition Senator Diane Baldeo Singh. The question asked, could the minister inform the Senate of the status of the introduction of speed monitoring devices, in particular radar speed guns, to address the carnage on the nation's roads?
Road fatalities 2012 over 2013, we saw a massive 22% drop in road fatalities. For this year, first quarter 2014 against first quarter 2013, we see an additional, in addition to the 22% overall for the annual figure, an additional 15% drop in road fatalities.
The Transport Minister went on to list a number of these initiatives that the government introduced over the last 4 years.
We look at a series of new walkovers for our highway system. One in Orapun. There's a new one going up right now outside Bilger Road, close to the Nagar, which again would allow people to cross from communities into other communities in a very safe way, which again will reduce the issue of fatalities with pedestrians in and around the highways. We have installed in excess of 27 kilometers of cable barriers. And I think for those of us who travel on the nation's highways, we would see that the cable barriers have really and truly played a very, very important part in dealing with road carnage. It is estimated that in excess of 87 fatal accidents would have been avoided by the use of these cable barriers. We have the issue of the traffic warden system. Again, very, very effective in managing the issues of traffic on the nation's roads. We have also the highway patrols. We had 99 brand new rapid response vehicles.
In addition to the highway rapid patrol vehicles, the minister noted that 63 motorcycles were added to the fleet for proper traffic management, and he spoke of the police surveillance bays which allow first responders to make U-turns along the highway to respond to any incident. The Honourable Minister went on to speak about red light cameras, which he said is currently in its testing stage.
Right outside the Parliament building here, in case you don't know, if you go through the red light here, you will be picked up, because there's a test station right here on this traffic light here, that we are testing the red light cameras for people who break the red light, that we actually take a photograph of the license plate. This is only testing. Don't expect a ticket in the mail.
In response to the issue of speed guns, the minister stated that those devices were not the preferred choice of his ministry.
We're looking at what is known as the LiDAR system, which is an actual laser detection system, which is the technology that the majority of jurisdictions are now using, and therefore that is what we're going to be bringing to the Parliament.
Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Meanwhile, the expenditure to date of government's laptop distribution program for students entering secondary schools is tallied at $261,406,715. This was revealed by the Honourable Tim Gopi Singh, Minister of Education, during today's Senate sitting. The minister was at the time answering questions on the order paper.
At the Senate sitting, the question to the Honourable Minister of Education, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, from Opposition Senator Camille Robinson-Regis, was the actual expenditure to date of government's laptop program for secondary school entrants. Dr. Gopi Singh provided the following breakdown.
In 2010, we provided 20,300 laptops at a cost of $83,956,471.42. In 20, that unit cost then was about $4,135.79. In 2011, we provided 17,300 laptops, laptop bags, and peripheral equipment at a cost of $54,935,380.15. And the unit cost went down from $4,135 to $3,160.64 per unit cost.
The minister said all this was done in a proper tendering process. In 2012, 17,400 laptops, laptop bags and peripherals were provided to students at a cost of $56,579,790. Logistics and distribution of these laptops cost $1,469,287. In 2013, 18,200 laptops were purchased for students in this country at a cost of $49,476,700. That same year, government also purchased laptops for students in St. Lucia following a request by the government of that country.
And for the 3,300 laptops for St. Lucia with peripheral equipment, that cost was $8,971,050. And the logistics and distribution for our 18,200 laptops to our students was $2,386,250.
Dr. Gopi Singh said by September this year, government would have provided close to 92,000 laptops to students in Forms 1 to 5. Felicia Wilson-Mon, News 4.
News 4 continues right after the break. Stay with us. The former Transport and Engineering Department of Caroni 1975 Limited, which was shut down with the closure of the sugar industry, has now become the NESC Automotive Technology Center and the NESC TrackMac CAT Training Center. The new training facility has been officially opened by the Honorable Fazal Karim, Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training.
11 years ago, the former Transport and Engineering Department of Caroni 1975 Limited was shut down and abandoned after the closure of the sugar industry. But today, the 13,000 square feet facility at Woodford Lodge in Chaguanas has been transformed into the National Energy Skills Center, Automotive Technology Center, and the NESC TrackMac CAT Training Center. The new facility will offer programs in autotronics, heavy equipment maintenance, heavy equipment operations, and information communications technology when it opens its doors for the first influx of trainees in October. Speaking at the opening of the center, the Honorable Fazal Karim, Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training, said the technology campus will produce highly skilled persons and also attract students from other countries. He said the very latest technology is being embraced and training would be competitive on an international level.
To ensure that we remove the borders and the boundaries of learning. We have Dr. Michael Dowlett here, the chairman of the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. It must not be learning within the walls only. We must have digital learning opportunities, learning by video conferencing. Why is it impossible, I ask you, through the courtesy of Southern Sales, or any one of them, Ansa Makal, or any of the universities we have, for example, in Korea, in South Korea. Why can't a facilitator not be teaching in South Korea while our students are learning here? This is the world of digital knowledge. This is the time for us to remove all of those boundaries. And I want to tell you that that is the way in which we're going to retool, renew, re-engineer, and re-energize all these children, these students.
Minister Karim said the training facility has dorms that can house 160 instructors and students at full capacity. He added too that along with this technology center, there will be other learning facilities on the compound.
Within the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll begin construction of the MIC and YTEP centers right on this compound. It will be an integrated campus of NESC, MIC, YTEP, Trackmark Caterpillar, all of that. When you look at it, it will be integrated facilities right there. You will articulate from one level of learning to the next level of learning.
The minister also announced another program called RRW to come on stream soon.
RRW, retirees returning to the workforce. I know most of the people who are clapping are those who are retired. But my tagline will be 100% retired, 0% tired. You cannot be retired today at 60 years, and the next day you're going home to drink coffee, tea, buy papers, and watch TV. We have invested too much in you. You must come back and give back to Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, all of those will ensure the participation rate in the tertiary sector increases.
Felicia Wilson-Moore, News 4.
The call for the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman to be made independent will soon be addressed. This comes as Central Bank Governor Jawala Rambaran says the needs of consumers and the financial institution should be met with fairness and equity.
The move to make the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman independent from the central bank is said to be on the cards. Central Bank Governor Jawala Rambaran says this is needed if it is to provide proper redress for the public in financial matters. He was speaking at the office's annual breakfast meeting.
Ideally, the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman should be independent of consumers and of the financial services industry whose disputes are being handled. In deciding cases, the Ombudsman also needs to be independent of the central bank because the Ombudsman is acting as an alternate to the courts.
This year's breakfast meeting was themed A New Beginning. Addressing those gathered with reference to this theme, Governor Rambaran says a recent report produced by former Chief Ombudsman of the Financial Ombudsman Service in the United Kingdom, David Thomas, recommends upgrading existing consumer protection policies.
Developments in financial markets, international best practices in financial consumer protection, especially the World Bank's good practices for financial consumer protection, and the experiences from 7 Commonwealth countries with legal financial consumer protection frameworks. The draft document also takes into account the terms of reference agreements between the Office of the Financial Service Ombudsman and the respective financial service providers.
Meanwhile, the governor also provided a breakdown of current consumer debt trends, which he said gave an indication of the dire need to protect and sensitize consumers on financial literacy.
Here in Trinidad and Tobago, household use of financial services has been rapidly rising in recent years. Consumer debt stood at $25 billion in 2013. Up from $19 billion in 2009. Mortgage debt rose still more rapidly, from under $7 billion in 2009 to over $10 billion in 2013. Credit cards in active circulation are currently running at almost 200,000 cards, while consumer credit card debt stands at around $2 billion. At the same time, households have increasingly become more responsible for funding their own pensions while buying insurance policies and investing in securities and mutual funds.
The Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman used the opportunity to present its new and improved website, which it says will seek to make known to the consumer their rights, financial responsibility, and how they can access redress. Kimberam Calawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after this. Life Sport is a program conceived with the intention to use sport as a vehicle for development and progress in the lives of young men from communities at risk. In light of recent public pronouncements, the coordinators addressed the prevailing concerns on Monday, and News 4 Sports was there. Here is Wayne Cunningham with that report.
Participants of the Life Sport program gathered at the Atherbolden Stadium as coordinators sought to address the media on what they deemed prevailing misconceptions and one-sided representation of the program. National Director Cornelius Price shared some facts.
Firstly, Life Sport is not a fund. Life Sport is a program. They can't even get it right. In this regard, the Life Sport is the brainchild of the Honorable Minister of Sport, Anil Roberts, and not the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Ashton Creed, and the Secretary told me today he wanted to make that clear. The genesis of the Life Sport program came about from a dire need to provide the young at-risk males, Trinidadians, with an alternative from the existing social intervention programs. Those who were not attracted by academia or could not find a home in technical vocation, military, they have my part and my lot, etc., and who did not want to participate in the manual sector such as URP and CPEP, and were found languishing in the streets. What we noticed was that they all had a particular passion or love for sport. No single entity or group has received more than what the program is designed to deliver. So the argument put forward by the article is spurious. There is no Life Sport fund. It is a program. There are no ghosts. Here are your ghosts. There are citizens who have been given an opportunity to re-assimilate in society. There have been several stories being told about the plight of these young men at risk. There was no $8 million Family Day hosted by the Ministry of Sport. There is no single coordinator. There are 40 coordinators. No one individual or group is benefiting in any way, shape or form above which is intended by the Life Sport program.
A trio of former national football captains then took the mic. First, Angus Eve outlined the positives.
The onus is on us, the coordinators, and most of the coordinators, all of the coordinators worked very hard. There was lean times. As the coordinators know, we weren't paid for 5 months. Nobody talking about that kind of thing. The coaches wasn't paid for a lot of times, and nobody talking about all those times that we stick by and we went through whatever problems that we would have to make the program what it is today, which is, in my opinion, a success. Because with all the young men here today, somebody could have been in Carenage or Lavante or Lansmeter or Mova or some way, holding a gun and robbing somebody. You never to know. But we all here doing something positive. What is discipline? Being on the road and cussing somebody, and somebody might think that is discipline, but discipline is when every morning these youths come in a structured program.
Then there was Wesley Webb, who fully endorsed Life Sport.
I am proud, and I stand here today saying that Life Sport has benefited not only the participants, but coordinators, supervisors, coaches, across the board. And I think that the value that it places overall is one that is incomparable, and it is necessary that this program stays.
Finally, Anthony Roger.
Every day you come to the program, make sure it works for you. Make sure your center is uplifted by what you do or what you say. The people who are around you, the coordinators, the supervisors, the person who bring in the meals, the person who cleaning the center, respect them so that they may understand. We respect what you're doing, trying to do something for us. And let us make the difference. Don't wait for nobody, no minister, or no, forgive me, protocol, no prime minister to make no difference for you. You do it for you with whatever tools they provide for us. Let's make it work for us.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
More news after this. Football fans can tune in to TV4 on June 4th to view the World Cup friendly between Trinidad and Tobago and Argentina. This after a strategic move between the TTFA and GISL to bring the historical match live.
The Government Information Services Limited has signed an agreement with the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, which will see the broadcasting on Channel 4 of the pre-World Cup friendly between Trinidad and Tobago and Argentina. The match, which will take place on June 4th in Buenos Aires, Argentina, is part of the final warm-up preparations for Argentina before the team heads to Brazil for the 2014 World Cup. On Friday, the agreement was signed between Chief Executive Officer of GISL, Andy Johnson, and General Secretary of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, Sheldon Phillip.
Well, really is a first-time collaboration where the GISL has agreed to televise live our match against the Argentinian national team featuring Lionel Messi. This is a pre-World Cup match, warm-up match basically for Argentina, who's currently ranked 3rd in the FIFA rankings, and they're one of the odds-on favorites to win the World Cup. So it's a massive, opportunity for GISL to bring a sports fan base to its station, and we're thrilled about the partnership and the opportunity to work together.
GISL's CEO spoke of the importance of promoting local sports teams and the significance of the agreement in GISL's fulfillment of the government's mandate.
We tend to, we support national teams in peaks and troughs. So when they're doing well, we're with them. When they're doing not so well, the supporters had to come by. And what our efforts have been was to try and keep the focus on our teams, regardless of the situation, the fortunes from game to game, from tournament to tournament, from I would say campaign to campaign. Behind that, of course, is the fact that the government of Trinidad and Tobago, has maintain a great commitment financially and otherwise in national athletes. There's one program called the Elite Athletes Program that's particularly for people in track and field, but the government also supports sports and sporting development generally, and this is our way of saying that on the basis of that, we as a government news agency, a government media agency, we wanted to be able to be there to demonstrate that commitment by our continuing focus on national teams of one kind or another. And this agreement is, I would say, taking us to a different level of cooperation and collaboration with a major sporting organization such as the TTFA.
The CEO went on to thank senior sports editor Wayne Cunningham for his efforts in seeing the agreement come to fruition, as well as his larger strides in gaining interest and local buy-in when it comes to local sports teams.
I want to pay or give some congratulations to Wayne Cunningham, because he came on board here to up our game, as it were, with sports coverage, and he has been an advocate for national teams in all the disciplines of sport that we can think about, to trying to get some focus on them and some commitment generally in the media for how we treat with national teams and with national athletes. And this is, I would say, a step up in his efforts, in his continuing efforts on the football front particularly. And I want to congratulate the TTFA, the newly rearranged TTFA, and certainly Sheldon, for this partnership with us, because again it says that they recognize that we can make a contribution. We have been making a contribution to help the question you put to him a while ago about the position with fans and the game as such, to keep Trinidad and Tobago's football in the eyes and the ears of a public that will support efforts of the national team.
Meanwhile, national senior men's team head coach Stephen Hart has described the first few days of preparations ahead of the friendly international against Argentina as satisfying. The team is expected to depart Trinidad and Tobago on June 1st on a full chartered flight facilitated by the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Sport. Nikolai Edwards, News 4 Sports.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. Now remember, you can view a repeat of our newscast weekdays at 6 a.m. and feel free to visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/RTV4. I am Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.